Good morning, YouTube. This is Forever Figs, and today we're going to be making fig jelly. I had a YouTube friend of mine up from New England way, and he asked me if I'd make a video showing how I make my fig jelly. So that's what we're going to do today, and we're going to take you through it step by step. So the first thing you're going to do, you want to wash these figs, and that's true with figs or any other kind of fruit you're going to process. So what we're going to do now, we've washed our figs, we're going to prepare them now for cooking, and we're going to take them and cut them up, okay? Now, two reasons for cutting. Reason number one, if you cut them into smaller pieces, they'll cook a little bit quicker. And a second reason, a very important one, is it gives you a chance to look inside your fig. And you want to make sure what's going on inside there, okay? As I said before, out on that tree all summer long, there's all kinds of things crawling over your tree and possibly all over your figs. And as many of you know, at the bottom of each fig there's a small hole, and that kind of lets you know when your fig is starting to get ripe, because honey starts dripping out of there, but it also gives access to possibly for insects to go in and start setting up house inside your figs. So cutting will alleviate any anxiety you have about that, because you'll be able to take a good look and see what's what inside your figs. Okay, so we cut them in half. I normally cut off the first ½ inch or so. That's normally where the latex is that you always see when you cut these figs off the tree. So you cut them in half, then cut them again into quarters, and you put them in your cooking pot and just continue that process. Cut them in half, lay them down flat, cut the top portion off, discard that. Okay, cut them into quarters, put them in your cooking pot, okay, and so on and so forth until all your figs are cut and quartered. And what you want to do, you want to put enough water in this pot just to cover the figs. You don't want to fill this pot up. Just put some water in until they're covered. Okay, the water's coming up. We're just about there. That should be enough. Maybe about 2.5, 3 inches of water. We're going to take the whole pot, and if I don't drop it, we're going to move it over to the stove. Okay, set it up on your biggest burner that you have. You're going to get your burner going, and you're going to bring this solution to a boil, and you're going to boil the figs for about 10 to 15 minutes until they're nice and tender. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we're going to take that juice that we reserved and we're going to put it into our big cooking pot. Normally we put 4 cups in, but we have a bumper crop this time, so we're probably going to go more than that. Okay, there's 2. Yep, we're just going to pour it in. Yeah, there's 4, so we got way more. We're going to put in more than that. Probably 5 or 6, and maybe a drop after that. That's 5. There's 6, and we got more. Boy, we're going to be making some jelly today.
These are low.
Okay, what do you say, honey? You want to pour the whole thing in? Yeah, pour it in. Let's go for it. There you go. Okay, so we have our juice in the pot. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to add 1.5 cups of lemon juice. And we're going to add 3 bags of pectin. Now, pectin is what you use to make your juice set into jelly. Okay, if you don't use pectin or something like it, you're going to have fig juice, but you're not going to have fig jelly. Okay, now that our solution, our juice, has come to a boil, we're going to take sugar, 9 cups of it, and we're going to add it as we stir into the pot. Now 9 cups of sugar is a lot of sugar, And for folks who are having trouble with blood sugar or any kind of problem like that, you might want to stay away from this recipe. But we've been using this same recipe for years, and we've been eating these, and we're still kicking. Okay, so our jelly has come now to a full rolling boil, and once it reaches that, you want to continue boiling for 1 minute. Okay, and you keep stirring, you make sure that that jelly doesn't burn. It's getting to a critical point now. Okay, we've got the timer set for 1 minute, so we're going to keep stirring. And as you can see, as you're boiling this jelly, there begins to be a foam that forms on top of the jelly. So what's going to happen, as soon as we're done with our 1 minute boil, we're going to turn the burner off, and my wife is going to start skimming that foam off the top of the jelly, because you don't want to put that into the jars because it's going to make your jelly cloudy, and it also may crystallize at the top of each jar. So she's going to skim it off. Maybe it'll take 6, 7, 8, 10 ladles full to skim it off. Just be patient with it, and it's gonna make a better product for you at the end. Okay, what we're going to do now, we're going to take that jelly. My wife is going to scoop it out with a ladle, and she's going to start pouring it into the jars. Okay, once she gets one jar full, leaving about a 1/4 inch headspace at the top, I'm going to start putting the lids on. Now the lids have been boiling in water also. You try to sanitize everything as much as you can. Okay, she almost has the first jar filled. I'm going to get over there and show you how I put these caps on. Okay, this little kit comes with a magnet because you can't stick your hands in this boiling water. You may, but you won't do it a second time. Okay, and you take the lid, just let it drip a little bit, place it on top of the jar. Okay, get your magnet out of the way, screw your lid down, but only screw it down finger tight. Once it bottoms out, leave it. Because if you go down too tight with it, you're going to put it in the water bath canner later on, and the jar may crack. So nice and gentle with those lids. Okay, here comes jar number 2. Okay, I'm going to slide it out of the way. While my wife's filling jar number 3, I'm going to put the lid on. You kind of have to get a system going. This phase especially, you got to use 2 people, I think. I've seen some people do it with 1, but it's kind of scary. Okay, now the final step that we have to do is take these jelly jars that have been filled and capped, and we need to put them into boiling water. Okay, it's called a water bath canner, and you put the jars in there. All that's in that pot is boiling water with a little bit of white vinegar added. The reason for the white vinegar is so that calcium deposits do not build up on the lids of these jars. Okay, I mean, it's not the end of the world if they do get calcium on it, but just looks a little nicer and a little neater if they come out bright and shiny. Okay, so we're going to put the jars in there, and we're going to let them stay in that thing for at least 10 minutes. Okay, it's okay if you leave it in there a little longer, but you got to have minimum 10 minutes. Okay, here we go. We're going to put them into the pot. And what I'm using is a device here put out by Ball Company. Other manufacturers make it just to lift your jars and put them in that boiling water. Okay, just lift them up, put them in. Okay, you don't want to put them into a pot that doesn't have some kind of a screen or a lifting device on the bottom. I have a round rack at the bottom of this pot that's keeping these jars, the glass bottom of it, about at ½ inch off the bottom of the pot. If you put the jar right on the bare pot as it's boiling, it'll have a tendency to crack. Okay, just take your time putting them in. You don't want to burn yourself. You don't want to tip these things over. You're dealing with boiling water here. Okay, make sure the kids are outside playing or over grandmom's house or something, because you don't want anybody getting hurt. Okay, so our 10 minutes are up. We're starting to take the jars out of our water bath canner. We're setting them on the side. Be careful once again. Okay, you're dealing with boiling water. Now some of these jars you're going to hear a little ping when they come out, and that's a good sound. You want to hear that sound. That means the cap has set real good. There you go, there's one. Okay, careful with the water. There's another one pinging, that's a good sound. You want to hear that. Okay, there's another one. Yep, there they go. Ping, ping, that's great. Music to a canner's ears. Okay, and here comes our final jar, the little 1/4 pint. And that's the whole process, okay?